Hello, welcome to the channel. I'm Richard Cole. This is Amari Music Talk, and today the official announcement for the Diamonds and Pearls Super Deluxe edition was announced today. The release date is October 27th, 2023. So get your money together and save up and do what you got to do to make that release date. This has been quite the exciting day, and what I call the Prince musical singularity. Um, it's been a long time, for about practically a year, maybe more. There've been no announcements from the Prince estate. Granted, there's been some regime changes and lots of internal changes and stuff, but we won't get into that. Today we're going to celebrate the music. So, I'm excited for it. It's not my favorite album. It's not like in my top 10 Prince albums, but I remember, 1991. God, that was like 10 years of being a Prince fan for me. It had some strong material on it. I really loved the single "Get Off" when that first dropped. A lot of the other tracks on the album. I'll get into specifics on that another episode, but it was an enjoyable album for me. To me, the videos were more exciting. A lot more thought put into those videos than, say, previous Prince videos. So for me, when I look back on it, it's the videos. Like I said, some of the songs were really, really strong for me. Um, yeah, I enjoyed it. And plus, you know, for me, as far back as Around the World in a Day, I knew we weren't going to get the same album twice from Prince. So when something like Diamonds and Pearls dropped, for me, the novelty of it was how accessible of an album. And, it garnered a lot of mainstream success because of that. Quite a few top 10 singles were released from that. It sold close to, I think, like 5, 6 million copies, which was something he hadn't done pretty much since, Batman was the last one to sell about that many copies. So, yeah, it's an exciting release, period. What I've noticed online, a lot of second generation fans, that was their gateway into Prince. And, again, me as a first generation fan, it wasn't an album that made me jump off the bandwagon or anything like that. Like I said, I enjoyed it. And the material that's on this Super Deluxe, um, honestly makes me more excited for it. So, let's talk about what's going to be on it. So let me pull up my notes here. Have an exciting time. So, the press releases, this is Prince and the New Power Generation's multi-platinum album, Diamonds and Pearls, dazzlingly remastered for the very first time by Prince's original mastering engineer, Bernie Grundman. All right, and the release date is October 27th of 2023. And you're going to get, as far as CDs, you will get 7 CDs plus Blu-ray. If you opt to go for the vinyl, it will be 12 LPs plus the Blu-ray. And like I said, again, this is an enjoyable album. But I think what I was looking forward to, kind of as the weeks unfolded, closer to the announcements, there'd been some leaks of what the vault tracks were, what type of live concert we were getting. It was those things that made me even more excited for this particular release. Um, this is a kind of an era as far as vault tracks that I haven't heard a lot of. Of course, the 80s material, things that had been circulating in bootlegs. Yeah, I got to hear a lot of that stuff. Actually, I was probably, let's see, by 91, kind of about a year and a half into bootleg material, as far as like acquiring it, listening to it, trading it, um, things of that nature. So, yeah, a lot of the classic 80s stuff for sure. But as the 90s went on, and as some of the Diamonds and Pearls material was starting to leak, I haven't heard that many. I think maybe not even half a dozen songs. I've heard Schoolyard. There's an original version of The Flow, which is a song that actually ended up on the next album, which is the Love Symbol album. I've heard that. Unfortunately, I have to double check the list, but that song is missing from the vault tracks on this. But I'm assuming they might save that for, say, Love Symbol Deluxe Edition. It kind of makes sense. But again, Schoolyard was one that I've heard and enjoyed. Something Funky This House Comes was another one that I enjoyed. But, it's crappy, bootleg, poor sound quality. So I'm excited to hear the officially released versions of those. And there's a number of vault tracks, again, that I haven't heard. So the excitement for me is hearing like 98% of these vault tracks for the very first time. The other thing that excited me was the Blu-ray, which is a live performance from Glam Slam from January of 1992, if I'm not mistaken. But that's something I haven't heard, and I've heard other Diamonds and Pearls live material again in circulation, but I think this one to me is going to be more special because of the fact that it's a smaller venue. It's in the Glam Slam, which was for the newbies out there, it was a club that Prince had built, named after the song Glam Slam from Lovesexy. But he had one in Minneapolis, eventually built one in Miami, and I forget the others. Reach out to me in the comments. Was there one in LA, and was there one in London as well? Leave me a comment and kind of update me on that bit of Prince trivia. But again, smaller club venue, so much more looser performance, I'm going to assume. But this was something that was filmed, so we're going to get that as a Blu-ray and a CD version of that same concert. So those are the things that I'm really excited about in regards to this upcoming release. But like I said, you're getting 7 CDs. Of course, disc 2. Well, let's see. Let's maybe backtrack a bit. So the first disc, of course, is going to be the original album remastered. Disc 2 will be the singles, the 7-inch single versions, as well as any 12-inch extended versions of the singles that were released from that album. That is definitely something I'm excited for, because it does have the extended versions of Get Off, the house mix version of it, Violet the Organ Grinder, Gangsta Glam. You'll have those and quite a few other things. Let's see, Do Your Dance. I want to say I've heard that. I don't remember it. I used to have like the Get Off maxi single and the Cream maxi single would have all the different remixes on it as well. But lost both of those. But and probably hadn't played at least the Cream mixes probably since the 90s. So I'm kind of vague on what's on that one. So looking forward to kind of refreshing my memory on some of the single edits. with that. And of course, moving on, we got disc 3, which is going to be Vault Tracks, which leads off with Schoolyard. Like I said, I remember reading that in the Rolling Stone interview from 1990, and that was something that Prince kind of had playing in the background, or he was playing it for the reporter Neil Carlin, and was always like, oh man, I want to hear that track. And eventually, like I said, got a hold of the bootleg, but it was crappy sound quality. I might still have that on a cassette somewhere, but looking forward to hearing that officially released. There are 2 songs that have been released, kind of leaked, if you go on your streaming services. One is an early mix of Insatiable, and the other one's a song called Alice Through the Looking Glass. Now, there's going to be a separate video where I talk about those 2 tracks. So, but I kind of want to spend more time just talking about this set as a whole. But yeah, let's see. There's a long version of Diamonds and Pearls, so I'm looking forward to hearing what that sounds like. Glam Slam 91, that is something that I've always heard about, but have never had a chance to hear it. So I'm looking forward to hearing what that sounds like. You know, how different is it from the original, from Lovesexy? Is it, you know, funkier? Is it in a different style? Is it the same but different? So yeah, looking forward to that one. So 12, let's see, moving on to disc 4, 12-inch version of Daddy Pop, Prince's Originals version of Martika's Kitchen, because we had Love That Will Be Done, that was actually released on that compilation Originals. So that'll be cool if you're going to try to recreate that as a Prince album. 2 tracks in, folks. Let's see. Yeah, Something Funky, This House Comes. Like I said, I remember hearing that one, and this one says band version. Okay, so that must have been the bootleg that I was used to hearing. And let's see, what is there? Hold Me? Is that, I know there was a Sheila E. track from her 3rd album called that. So did Prince remake that? Did he take that back or something? I don't know. So I'm looking forward to hearing how that sounds. But yeah, but that's 2. And then your 3rd disc of Vault material, let's see, has Tip of My Tongue. That one, actually, I've heard the El DeBarge version, because that was given to El DeBarge. I forget what album that was, but I've heard that track, and it's a nice, that was a nice track, but I'm hearing what the Prince original version would sound like, so that's on there. The Voice, is that his vocal version from the Mavis Staples track. So again, you know, looking forward to hearing what those sound like. Here's another one, Standing at the Altar. That was on, was it Margie Cox did that for the 1-800 New Funk compilation. So again, looking forward to hearing what the Prince original version would sound like and comparing those. Disc 6 is the Live at Glam Slam from 1992, and this is the CD version, the audio version of this concert. So again, looking forward to hearing what that sounds like. And then the surprises, or one of the biggest surprises for me, was the Blu-ray. So it's not only are we getting the Live at Glam Slam performance on Blu-ray, that concert on Blu-ray, but we're also getting the Diamonds and Pearls performance from the Special Olympics that was in the Metrodome in Minneapolis, Minnesota. That was back in July of '91. I remember tuning in to watch that performance. I think I still have that on VHS. I think I still have where I taped that. But in addition to that performance, you also have the medley with Let's Go Crazy, Baby I'm a Star, and Push. Someone had leaked a video of that not too long ago, and I got a chance, took a look at that too, and that was a pretty strong performance. That, like I said, as an album, Diamonds and Pearls didn't it, but the promotion behind the whole thing to me was more exciting than the album itself. Just on the strength of, again, the music videos, the Special Olympics performance, also like later that into that fall, the performance on Arsenio Hall. Those, all this talk about 80s versus 90s. Look, to me, those things that, or most of the stuff that we'll see or witness on this Blu-ray, the music videos, that's another surprise. Like I said, just the strength of the Special Olympics performance. But if you can find the footage from Arsenio Hall, check that out as well. Like I said, that was, whatever it was for me as a first generation fan, whatever it was that drew me in the 80s, it was those things in with this particular album, the way it was promoted, again, the music videos, the live performances on television. It was just as exciting. Like I said, for me, I'm just into the evolution. So yeah, being a teenager back in the early 80s, going into college years, of course that stuff is going to be exciting. But again, it was one of those things, I never jumped off the bandwagon. Some albums I enjoyed more than others, but I never jumped off the bandwagon. And like I said, this was an enjoyable one. But yeah, having the complete video set, see, I got the VHS right there behind me, to have that officially on a Blu-ray, remastered, that's, like I said, one of the things I'm excited about in addition to the vault tracks. Now, I do have one small complaint, and I'm looking at this list for the videos. Let's see, Diamonds and Pearls, video collection. What I don't see are the videos to the Get Off set. So, with that set, there were, and, this is like the early 90s where, the years previous you had MTV that was so revolutionary. And, post Michael Jackson, Thriller, you started to get, Janet Jackson in there. Like I said, you had Prince in there with some interesting videos. But as it got to the later 90s, and, with something like, home video entertainment, kind of like the golden age of it, selling music in this format was pretty, that was an innovative thing in those days. So, to do not only just the 12-inch maxi single, you've got the maxi single as a video. So there were videos filmed for all the remixes of Get Off. And unfortunately, that's not part of this Blu-ray, unless it's a huge omission and, maybe a hidden feature in there somewhere. Or I think because you're also going to get, I think, Adobe Atmos mix of the original album. So I guess, I don't know, as far as storage space, in order to make room for that, maybe they had to omit those Get Off videos. But it would have been nice to see those included as well. But that is probably the only complaint that I have. Which version am I going to get? Am I going to get the vinyl? Am I going to get the CD? Economically, for me, it's always the CD. mainly too because, you know, as far as like the vault tracks, for me, I haven't quite warmed to that on vinyl as of yet. For me, I just like having the original vinyl itself. But definitely for the vault tracks, for the Blu-ray, for me, and again, most economically, it would be the CD version of it. And then maybe later on down the road, I'll get the standalone single, you know, the vinyl of the original album itself with that. But, you know, also, there's, you know, like with all box sets, there's a book that comes with it, complete with essays and historical notes. Big shout out to D'Angela and Nisi. They have been drafted as contributors to the essays for this set. Also, of course, Dwayne Tudor's there with the historical notes as well. So, you know, like I said, looking forward to some exciting reading as well as some exciting listening. But hey, what's important? More important to you? Are you going to get the CD? Are you going to get the vinyl? Was this among one of your favorites? Whether you're a first generation, second generation fan, you know, what other Super Deluxe editions are you hoping will come out after this one? Since this one's out, I guess there's no sense in doing what would make the perfect Diamonds and Pearls Super Deluxe, but I do have a video on what would make the perfect Love Symbol album, so be sure to check that out. That'll be at the link at the end of the show. Other than that, thanks for tuning in. Always leave comments, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, become a Patreon supporter. Kind of had to come out of hiding on this one because I'm working on some stuff right now, and also to bring better and newer content to the Amari Communications channel, not only here but on Patreon. So also to become a Patreon supporter. And look, if all of you just donated even just $1, whether it's on first tier Patreon or all my other links that you find in the show notes, Bandcamp, my website, richardcolemusic.com. Hey, you know, better quality programming, folks. But thanks to everyone for tuning in, staying patient. Like I said, coming up next will be the reaction video to the 2 leaked tracks. And then, other than that, unless there's some breaking news, we'll see you again after that around maybe November or so. So thanks again. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Until then, create your day, create your life. Peace.